A to Z Mysteries, Super Edition 1, Detective Camp, by Ron Roy. Chapter 9. The kids watched Detective Rob pull out a cell phone as he walked away. "This is creepy," Josh said. "Should we go back to the cabin?" "We eat lunch in 15 minutes, Dink said. "We might as well wait here." Just then, Remote the goat and Ronald the rooster came around the corner of the barn. Remote headed right for the kids, but Ronald stopped to scratch in the dirt. The goat rested his chin on Josh's knee. "My dog does that when he wants to be scratched," Josh said, stroking the goat's silky ears. "Oh my gosh!" Ruth Rose cried, making the goat back up. "Josh, your M stands for moat." "M-O-A-T, like surrounding a castle?" Josh asked. "No, moat is Buzzy's nickname for the moat, remember?" she said. "And Buzzy made up some of these clue cards, so maybe the M stands for moat, and those are goat hairs on your card." "Ruth Rose, you're a genius," Josh said. He pulled out his clue card and compared the hairs on the back to the goat's hairs. "They're the same," Dink said. "So do you think the map piece is hidden on Moat?" Josh asked. "Luke said the clues would lead us to a place," Ruth Rose said. "Where's Moat's place?" "I know," Dink said, bolting toward the barn. He showed Josh and Ruth Rose the doghouse, where the goat slept. "I'll bet the map piece is in there." Josh got down on his knees and peered through the opening. "I hope he didn't eat it," he said, crawling inside. Josh began turning over the straw bedding. After a minute, he backed out, holding a flat tin box. "Ta-da!" Josh opened the box and found a piece of paper that looked like the ones Dink and Ruth Rose had found. "We found it," Ruth Rose said. "Just in time for lunch," Josh said, grinning. The kids ran around to the picnic tables. Most of the other campers were there, but a few stragglers were just arriving. Dink, Josh, and Ruth Rose sat together just as Buzzy, Luke, and Angie came out through the kitchen door. Buzzy stood on a bench and blew his whistle. "Detective Rob is busy, but he wanted to ask if anyone is still missing his or her map piece," the tall teenager said. No hands went up. "That's awesome," Buzzy said. Luke went around and collected all 26 map pieces. "Now, since there are so many of you, each cabin should select one person," Buzzy went on, "and those 3 kids will meet and assemble the map. Why can't we all do it together?" Angie laughed. "Have you ever tried to put a jigsaw puzzle together with 25 other kids helping? That's 260 fingers altogether." Everyone laughed. "Can they put the map together right now?" Duke asked. "Sure," Luke said. "The 3 you choose can work on it while we eat lunch. So get in a huddle with your cabin mates and vote for who you think would do a good job on the map." The kids scrambled around and formed into 3 groups by cabin. "I nominate Dink," Josh said to the rest of his group. "He's really good at puzzles and stuff." Dink was chosen. A minute later, he found himself sitting with Jade from Fox Cabin and Stanley from Bear Cabin. Luke came over and piled the map pieces on the table in front of them. "I'll give you a hint," Luke whispered. "The edges have a dark blue line." The 3 kids went to work. Many of the pieces had blue lines, so it took only a minute to assemble the 4 edges. Then they worked on the inside. As the map took shape, the kids saw a picture of the lake, the dock, and the ring of stones around the campfire. There was a big X drawn at one spot on a flat rock. An arrow pointed from the dock to the X. Dink realized that the E.T. and F.R. he'd seen on Ruth Rose's map piece were part of a sentence. Measure 10 feet from the dock. The treasure must be under that rock, Stanley said. Just then, the three counselors came over to their table. Guys, your lunch is waiting, Buzzy said. How are you doing with the map? We finished, Jade said. You guys are amazing, Angie said. Now, go back to your tables and tell the other kids what you learned. After lunch, you can all run down to the lake and get your well-earned treasure. Mario had heaped platters with rolls, cheese, and tomato slices, and 3 kinds of sandwich meat. The kids built their own sandwiches. They gulped them down with milk, then took off for the lake. The fastest runners were already moving the rock when Dink, Josh, and Ruth Rose got there. Everyone gathered around as Jade began digging in the sand under the rock. A minute later, she held up a plastic baggie. Inside was a folded sheet of paper. Jade unzipped the baggie and read the note. Congratulations. Your treasure is a lobster feast tonight. Come here at 5 o'clock and wear your bathing suits. The note was signed by Angie, Buzzy, and Luke. Lobsters, awesome, Josh said. Angie and Luke had walked up behind the group. Good work, kids, Angie said. Now it's time to head back to your cabins for a while. At 1:30, meet at the barn to choose an activity. Luke will take some of you canoeing if you choose that. I'll be with the kids who want archery or crafts. Where's Buzzy? Campbell asked. He's busy, Angie said. Okay, we'll see you all later. The kids started to head toward the path. Angie stopped Dink, Josh, and Ruth Rose. They want you 3 in the lodge, she said quietly. Who does? Dink asked. The Darbys, she answered, and Detective Rob. Then she followed the rest of the kids toward the cabins.